My name is Niali, for those of you who are just joining the call, and I am a member of United Black America. I'm member number 152, and welcome. This week we are going to continue our phone call from last week when we spoke about nutrition. And so this week we're going to talk about GMOs, and I'd like to touch more on the addiction. But I'll start off with GMOs and the way that GMOs are put towards people of color. If you're a part of United Black America, you may have seen some posts that we put up in our Slack where they now have developed fruit that does not turn brown and that will last
Yeah.
a long time when it goes to the stores. And they have started putting these things into the stores. And I bet you I know which places and which stores and communities that they're going to. But as a friend pointed out to me, these GMO things have a bad taste and they're less flavorful. But what kind of damage are they doing to us? Are we really getting nutritional value? Is GMO something that can be sent to places to save people that are, dying of hunger or has like food shortages? So I would like to hear everyone's view and take on the GMOs. When you do answer, please give your name and where you are calling from. Thanks.
This is Rhonda from Texas. GMO, genetically modified, what does the O stand for?
Organisms.
Organism. Interesting. So at our dollar store, I purchased some sunflower seeds. And I just noticed on the package it was like it has GMOs. So I look at the ingredients and I'm like, genetically modified. I'm not touching that. Why would you even need to genetically modify sunflower seeds? So I don't know. And it was, like I said, it was at the dollar store. Dollar stores are strategically placed all over but in particularly in the neighborhood where I was, that was almost like their grocery store.
I worked for Family Dollar for about 5, maybe 7 years. And one of the slogans that they had was they wanted to be the corner store in every neighborhood. But, it's not every neighborhood they were talking about. They were talking about the black neighborhood. Because here in Memphis, this is Phyllis in Memphis, by the way. Here in Memphis, you can find a dollar store damn near on every other corner. They've replaced the corner stores here in Memphis. So I don't know what it's doing around the other countries, but I can tell you about the GMOs. There's this company called Monsanto's that has a bad reputation about genetically modifying everything, anything. The Crisco oil that you make has GMOs. The corn that you eat has GMOs. And one of the reasons why Monsanto's genetically modify vegetables and things so that it can collect the seeds. Now, genetically modified food and most of the vegetables that you purchase, the seeds that you purchase in stores are not, they have, you look for the word heirloom, which means that they are original. But what Monsanto's did, and I saw this article about it, and I'm sorry I can't quote you the reference that I got it from, but what they do is that they keep the seeds. So say, for instance, Joe Doak Seed Company needs a seed for corn. They have to buy it from Monsanto's because Monsanto's has developed a vegetable that does not produce seed. How awesome is that?
Yes, I have heard of this, and on my recent trip to Ghana, that is one of the big issues that the farmers are having to deal with. A lot of these things that grow without the seeds, they tend to grow faster and they grow bigger, and they tell the farmers that they can make a profit from it. But then when the next planting season comes, they have no seeds. They have to now buy the seeds from people that have come in, and most likely Monsanto or some other evil organization like that. So it's really horrible. And I recently have just read in Tanzania how the farmers, they trade seeds with one another, And now that is becoming illegal, trading seeds.
What?
They want you to purchase seeds from the company, and the government has let private companies come in and regulate farmers trading seeds with one another. So they can, for me, so they can bring in these GMO products. Anyone else?
This is Amazon, and I'm a friend of Rhonda's in Harker Heights. Thank you, Rhonda. I had just got home and I got your message. Okay,
Awesome.
I'm a master gardener. I got certified 3 years ago. Masano is also the company that makes Roundup weed killer. We need to remember that dollar store is not representative. Every store you go to has genetically modified. The stores that we think are great, like Whole Foods, you can probably go there safely. Central Market, but read your packages. What the seeds, the farmers here in America are being put out of business. You don't have to go to third world countries. When the seeds from a farmer, a private farmer, goes into Masano's fields, they are sued and put out of business. What's really, I think we need to grasp is the reason our food is being genetically modified. They keep saying the fire next time. Well, the fire this time is starving people. If you can't grow your own food, because remember, these seeds are for one season. The seeds we grew up with, your grandmother could go and take the seeds from her watermelon or her lettuce and grow over and over, not with Masano. Any seeds you buy, I tell all my friends, stop buying people things and start buying people organic seeds. In the next 10 years, people are going to be starved out. Why? Because you won't be able to find a seed that has not been genetically modified. So, for instance, if you're a gardener and you go to Walmart or you go to, I went to Feed and Seed and I said I would like organic seeds. And they said, we don't have organic seeds. I said, what do you mean? You don't have heirloom seeds or organic seeds? They said, no, ma'am. I said, well, then you might want to think about getting them. And he said, why? I said, because your other seeds only grow one season. And I said, if they do grow, they're genetically modified, which means the life of that seed has already been chemically altered. So everything you just about eat, unless you're growing it yourself or spending more money to get organic food and know where you're buying your organic food, you are not only, if you call yourself eating healthy and you're buying organically modified food, then, you're already going down the rabbit hole. So I would leave you with, if you're not growing your own food, think about it. If you want to help your families, buy organic or heirloom seeds and start putting them away, because seeds last forever. And with that, I pass the talking stick.
That's the comment of the week.
Hey, this is Frank in Alabama. To the queen that was just speaking, can she give us a source of somewhere where we can purchase those types of seeds?
Yes, you can go to any small, first of all, go to your farmer's market and you can dry your own. But if you go to the higher end stores, like Whole Foods, like Central Market, your better grocery stores, it's going to say on the package, organic. You go to a place, I get my seeds. These people are Amish. They've been growing, come in, their food for hundreds of years.
That's a powerful message from the Queen. My next question is, so we know that these GMO things, they exist, this Frankenfood. How do you feel about eating it? And I do know the thing about the Family Dollar and those dollar stores, because I used to buy treats for my students there, and I stopped buying it. I just go to Whole Foods and get organic Teddy Grahams and stuff like that for the kids. I refuse, because I'm a person who reads the package, because I don't like all of the sugar. And I notice in the Family Dollar, which is in the hood mainly, even the candy is GMO, cookie, cereal. So I said, I'm not going to buy that anymore. But some people, they may see this and still eat it. And I think, now they're feeding this to the poor people, and a lot of times they don't have a choice. How do you all feel about eating these fruits and vegetables and cookies and candy and sunflower seeds that have been GMO? Does it bother you? Does it not bother you? How do you feel about our community eating this? The floor is yours.
This is Rhonda again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Shahada from Philadelphia. My feeling about what we eat generally is has a connection to the perception that everyone in the hood is ignorant about how they eat. They just eat without a conscience, and I think there's so much truth in that about our decisions about food. So we have these stores that are popping up all over the country that I think someone mentioned earlier. The purpose is not to feed us in a way to make us healthy or to really nourish the brain and the body. So my feeling is that we really have to move towards, as the other sister was saying earlier, growing our own, and we also have to really be like on point about not supporting stores that don't give us more higher quality food options. And I pass the floor to someone else.
I have a question for you, Queen. So we do our own stuff, but what if you're a person like me? I grew up in New York City. I grew up in a skyscraper. Our friends, we're on the 14th floor, the 20th floor, and places like that, tenement buildings. We have no green spaces to grow it. Like when we went to the park, we had to get on the subway and ride down to Central Park. So a lot of us don't have that place to grow these things. And then, there are food deserts. They'll open a Family Dollar in the neighborhood before they open up a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods in the neighborhood. So what does a person then do?
Well, I think that I know from what I've seen not only in this country but in other countries, there are a lot of people who are able to grow certain things indoors and even grow stuff, on your stoop or however you can grow something. You have to make that effort to grow something. I think I'm a Philadelphia girl, and so I grew up, not in the high rise, but congested city. At 14, was my first time calling myself, eating healthy and avoiding certain types of food at an early age. So one of the things is I think that the more we expose, particularly younger people, to the concept of uh, growing their own, watching what they eat, there is hope. So I don't think there is an immediate solution that's going to turn that around. But I do think that with, proper planning and education, we can look at, okay, what we're doing for our futures. And that's, for me, that's one of my main emphasis is on looking forward and trying to make tomorrow better. So we really have to educate. And I think, we all have already had examples on some levels about groups who've decided to take charge of our own communities and be active in, the feeding of our people and spreading the word about we can do better, we can live better, we can eat better. So on a collective thing, it's really like a collective effort. And I feel you when you mention people who live in high rises and that sort of things. For example, I know that in Japan per se, like what they're doing agriculturally on a small level for the individual families and community gardens. I mean, right here in Philadelphia, we have wherever you find a cluster of Asians, they grow all of their own foods year round. It's amazing. So we have to, really have to just kind of like get up to speed on how we become community gardeners or family gardens, and I think that's the only real solution. I wish there was more I could offer, but that's the best that I can think of. And I think that when we look at, when I work with young people and I see how their minds reflect a lot of the garbage that they eat. So we really have to say, what can we do towards a short-term future effort? So hopefully someone else can add to that, or reshape that, or do what they think can help address that situation.
This is Phyllis in Memphis. I can only go back to when I was a little girl and remember some of the things that my grandparents did. I was fortunate to be raised by my grandparents, but unfortunately I didn't gain their knowledge. My grandmother would go to like the farmers markets. We had them here in a community we call Binghamton, under a bridge, and what it was a lot of black farmers that would bring their products there to be purchased. And my grandmother would buy by bulk. We'd buy bushels of this and bags of that, and we would take them home and we would can them. Well, of course, we don't have that luxury anymore. So some of the things I've been thinking about, because I have been thinking about eating more nutrition, I think in my house I could give it a 80% of eating right. We still caught on that meat thing, and that's my mom. And but I try to get us at least 2 all vegetable meals, or raw, or a smoothie or something each day. But I thought about, just like when my parents were coming, my grandparents were coming up, we had relatives that were in the country, is what we call the country. I know probably New York calls Memphis country, but we would have relatives that were in the country. And our country, because of where Memphis is located, was in Arkansas. And so my grandparents would send money to Arkansas to help feed a pig, a cow, and some chickens. And what that would afford my parents is when slaughtering time came, was usually August, September, October, for those of you that are my age and understand what that time of the year was. They would split it 4 ways or 5 ways or however many, they had factored it out to be. So maybe we have to think about co-oping with people that have backyards. Maybe not a acreage, but more of a backyard. I think one backyard, if we could talk to a neighbor, or if you're in a high-rise, find a relative that has a backyard, if the two of you co-op together and say, hey, let's grow 20, do a row of, which is high in alkaline. Let's do zucchini. Let's do squash. Let's do a lot of different things, grow it back there. And we do it as a co-op. And then if everybody worked together as a family to do that, when harvest time comes around August and September, then you can learn how to can it or preserve it or put it up and things of that nature. Just get together and do that. All you need is one backyard. I believe that'll feed 2 families. So that's some of the things that my grandparents did when they were younger. Thank you.
Let me can I jump in?
Wow, that's powerful.
Everybody at the same time. I just want to jump in and add my 2 cents really briefly, and then I'm gonna yield the floor. So what we're talking about here are things that we need to do. All right, we need to do them. We don't have to. We shouldn't be waiting on someone else to be doing these things. All right. The Queen, before Phyllis started speaking, she gave us the solution right there. All right. So yeah, we face challenges. That's obvious. But we are the descendants of the men and women who built pyramids. We're the descendants of the men and women who decoded the stars when Albions were still in caves. So don't tell me that we can't find a solution, and don't tell me we can't find a solution quickly and easily. We can. Let's get over that. When you all are speaking to that inferiority complex that you have, you're speaking to what white supremacy has told you that you are, incapable of putting together simple solutions to feed your babies. Like Phyllis alluded to this. We had it before. And by the way, Phyllis, Memphis is country as hell. All right? I love you, Queen.
Amen.
But I love y'all. I love y'all because y'all are real people. Y'all eat real. Y'all live real. Y'all are genuine people, and I love that. So I love you, Queen. But what I'm saying is this. We can identify black farmers that still exist. We can bring them into the city and set up farmers markets, all right? You all can go around your city, find other like-minded brothers and sisters and say, you know what we need? We need to get with these black farmers that are, quote, out in the country and bring them into the city just once a month. once every other month, hell, once a season, and have them bring their seasonal goods, and we'll set up under a bridge. If it's popular, we'll keep doing it, and then we'll do it once a month, and then we'll do it once a week until we have enough revenue and interest and excitement in our community to do it regularly, or bring them into the city and co-opt a plot of land with abandoned buildings on it, because we all live near some. I'm looking at a couple right now. Tear those suckers down because we bought our property, because we're buying back the hood and listening to Jay Morrison and pooling our resources and practicing group economics. And now we got a field to bring these black farmers onto. We have a place to employ our youth during the summer. All right, you're not going to walk up and down the street eating candy and causing violence. You're going to get over on that community garden and help the community elders that are there around the clock till that soil and harvest that produce. All right. So now what are we going to do? We're going to take that produce. Can you all, kings and queens, cook something better than what you can find at that corner store? Can you cook something that tastes better than what they're selling at that corner store? I bet you can.
Oh, yeah.
Niali, can we make it vegan? Can we make it vegan and taste good?
Of course.
All right. So then what we do is we take that surplus that we're not eating, we cook up something that tastes good, and we open up our store right next to the corner store. And yeah, you got to follow FDA regulations, but like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. We've unraveled the mysteries of the stars. We can get around some Albions with Food and Drug Administration badges. Absolutely. All right? And we do weekend workshops. We can do it once a month. We can do it again once a quarter. All we have to do is do it. Do weekend workshops. We cook up something that tastes good. We go door to door, surrounded that little corner store that we just set up, and we knock and we let them know what's going to be going on that weekend. It's going to be a family event. Bring the kids. Y'all going to taste something that tastes good. All right, and if you like it, you can start changing your diet. Okay, and you can get rid of those Skittles and get rid of those snack cakes, get rid of that white bread. And by the way, family, a little side pocket class, if it's white, it ain't right. You need to get it out of sight. I'm talking about white bread. I'm talking about white salt. I'm talking about white sugar. I'm talking about white milk. I'm talking about white people. Well, maybe not the last part, but y'all get what I'm getting at, all right? So this is how we create a movement around what we put in our mouths, family. We need to create a movement around what we put in our mouths. And that's exactly how we do it. Elders, y'all know how to get out there and till some soil. You all know how to use the internet and find black farmers. And most of us live in hoods where this is very, very possible. And I guarantee you, you can throw a rock and hit a store that Arabs own in your hood. So don't tell me it can't be done when other people are doing it. Don't tell me it can't be done with our heritage. Don't tell me it can't be done when we have living examples from other communities that have done it and succeeded and are thriving. We can do it too. And I yield.
And we have done it before. And this is Priyamakwan in Louisiana. Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Love you, Queen.
Okay.
I just wanted to interject something that a sister said earlier and what the brother just said. I grew up on a farm in the country too. We call it the country. We had our plot of land. All the people living there had our plot of land, and we grew our food every year, okay? And we worked that land. I've also been part of projects called community gardening. As a matter of fact, we did one here about, I think, 10 years ago, and it caught on good because there are lots of vacant land that the mayors will even give to a group. If you're an organized group, whatever city you're in, they will give you plots of land to work. Okay, a lot of times students coming out of the universities and the various colleges, they start these kinds of community gardening. But people, we can do that also. Another idea, and I'm just trying to shoot it out there, if you're living in a community where you have lots of friends, you know, and I mean, especially those who are on the same wavelength that you are on, knowing that it's important to have our own natural food and to grow it ourselves. 10 people, even if it's not a big plot of land, each individual could grow something different in their own yard, like the young lady said earlier. You grow one thing, somebody else grows another thing. You come together on a marketplace day and swap and sell. And this is how we can we with that also we create jobs, like the brother said. We go from doing this kind of thing, each individual or group of people, to owning our own co-ops where we can sell that food through the co-ops and create jobs, because there are people we're going to need to run the co-op. So I mean, there's just so much that we can do, and there's nothing that we cannot do. Nothing. We've done it all before. We'll do it all again. It's just time to do.
This is Jamila in Memphis. I was going to say, too, a lot of those are long-term solutions, but I think an immediate solution is that most communities have what's called CSAs. And from some reason, I can't think of what it's called right now. I think it's a co-op kind of, but it's a CSA. You can Google it. And what it is, it's basically buying shares into a farm. So you can find a black farmer that provides the CSA, and if he does not provide a CSA, us as an organization can help him to form a CSA. And all that is that you're buying shares into that crop. And so it's it's risky, because if they have a bad crop that year, you don't get any money. But if they have a great harvest, then of course you get your harvest. And however they have it set up, some of them will do weekly deliveries. And then some of them run from June to September. All of them have different things, just depending on what kind of vegetables that they grow. But that's an immediate solution for those that feel like they don't have access to a farmer's market or don't have access to things. You can join CSAs, and that would be an excellent thing, especially for black farmers that could be struggling to create CSA programs for them, because that's giving them money to start getting their crops together. So normally you pay your CSA fees earlier in the year, February, March. And then you're guaranteed to have a delivery of, not guaranteed, but if there's a good harvest, you'll have a delivery of fresh fruits and vegetables, depending on what kind they actually grow, and you have access to that. So that's an immediate solution for those that feel like they don't have access, to just join the CSA. And it's a more immediate way for us to make a difference as an organization, is to help black farmers create CSAs that we can invest in.
By the way, family, CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So Community Supported Agriculture. I'm looking it up right now for the members of United Black America. I'm going to drop that link in the Slack channel, in the physical channel. All right. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you're not in Slack. You need to become members of United Black America. But Community Supported Agriculture, that's what that stands for.
Yeah, and CSAs are very good, because I do know that in certain communities, they do have sliding scales for people who are lower income, or people who have X amount of children. I've seen that where I live at in Baltimore, and they have them everywhere. You just have to ask about it. And a lot of the CSAs, believe it or not, include meat in their package that you get, and you pick it up every week. Every week to every 2 weeks, you pick up your package, and it's mainly fruits and vegetables. And I believe the meat comes once a month. But I'm not advocating meat, because I like everyone to adopt a meat-free diet. So my next question is, we have found some solutions, and we can grow everything. Now, what do we do about, and this goes back to last week, with us trying different fruits and vegetables? I know we can have tastings, but immediately now, how do we get people to go to the market and get these foods and try these foods, so we can have a strong community saying, okay, we need to grow this, and this. And, we want people to come out and try things. So what are some of the immediate things that we can do in our homes and in our communities to get people to try a variety of fruits and vegetables, as well as informing them about GMOs? You have the floor.
This is Phyllis in Memphis. My mother is 83 years old, and I've been trying to get her to eat better. And so one of the things that I do now, she and I admit, she and I both, for many, many, many years, we drank our breakfast, meaning we would drink coffee. That would be breakfast, and then maybe we'd eat a snack around 11:30 or 12. So what I've been incorporating is smoothies. I get up in the morning. The night before, I already know in my mind what I'm going to put. I usually put kale. My sweetener that I use is bananas. And, if I've got other fruit, I've got some frozen strawberries in there. I put that in there, and I make her a smoothie. Now, if I walked up to her and gave her a bowl of strawberries, kale, and one, the other day that I had some leftover stems from some collard greens, and I put that on the plate and I gave it to her, she would not eat it. But when I put it in a smoothie and I put that banana in there and I make it sweet for her, she will sit there and she will drink that smoothie. So that's and she never asks me what's in it. She just drink it because it's sweet to her. But I don't ever tell her that I don't put any sugar in it, that what's being sweetened is a fruit. Sometimes I put raisins in it. Sometimes I put the bananas. Sometimes I put, if I've got some sweet peaches, I put peaches in it and things of that nature. So that's one way that you can probably get vegetables in children as well as people that are resistant to just eating raw vegetables. Thank you.
Anyone else that hasn't had a chance to speak, you have the floor now. I like any questions or comments that you heard that you would like to comment on. The floor is yours.
Okay, this is Nicola in Texas. I was just saying, sometimes, things can be a little bit overwhelming for some who feel like they're maybe in a food desert or whatever. And for somebody like me, I grew up in the concrete jungle of New Orleans where I was just a city girl, so I wasn't on the farm or whatever. But this season of my life, I said I wanted to try to do something. I wanted to do something where I created a harvest of something that I planted myself and could eat from my own garden. And I started a crop of kale, and it's going really well now, and mint, and I'm with some mint, and so I'm with a group of ladies, and we all have tried to start something each individual started something, and now we're in a position where we can swap what we started. So I'll give some kale, they'll give me some basil, etc. So we just started very small. This is my first time ever planting something from the ground up. So that's just my 2 cents that, start small, start where you are and do what you can.
Sounds wonderful.
Anyone else would like to sound off?
Hey, it's Amazon again. Thanks, everybody, for sharing. You think there's no space where you can't learn. The one thing I've always asked God is, you think you missed something, and it always comes around. Like I didn't invest in Apple, but now here comes around investing in marijuana, the new green money. But I always read about the slaves with the quilts. And I don't know if anybody felt like this when Michelle Obama went to the White House and dug the earth. She was sending us a message as black people. When you can grow your own food in the garden, and I know I caught it right away. I said, look at this first lady trying to give us some gold. What first lady do you know grew her own food? The chef quit because she wouldn't let her put sugar in her desserts. We need to be aware that the signs are all around us, that this world is going in a different direction, that people that want a better life for themselves and their children. What better role model than the first lady of this country for 8 years to grow her food? The lady spoke earlier about not being able to buy food in black communities and how Michelle single-handedly went into food deserts. Kids had never saw broccoli or cauliflower. She got donations and put gardens in the middle of urban areas. We got a roadmap, y'all. We just got to follow it.
Community gardening.
Community garden. I have a community garden. This morning I went to check on my sweet potatoes. But for those of you that think you can't garden, on my backyard I have sweet potatoes growing, I have cream corn peas growing. I have fresh lemongrass and spearmint. These things grow in 5-gallon containers all day long. There is nothing you cannot grow in a container. So you don't need a yard. If you got a back porch with some sun, you can start growing tomorrow. Tomatoes. I had so many tomatoes, I had to give them away. So remember, the map is here for us. We don't have to wait. Michelle and your grandparents, the lady just talked about her 83-year-old mother. I'm a wise woman now. I'm a crone. When I was young, I didn't want to be a crone, but a crone is a wise woman. And it's like Rhonda. A crone shares the knowledge, and not only shares it, she does it. I don't know anybody more involved in our community than Wanda Brown. I admire her because she not only teaches children, she does it with her actions. Thank you, Wanda, again for telling me about this group, and I'm telling about share the number with my girlfriend that is here. But we need to recognize that if we just put our ear to God's, we will know the quilt. When the message is there, we will know that message is for us. And we won't delay. We don't have time to delay. Your grandkids don't have time for you to delay. It's all about right now getting busy.
Yeah.
And this group sounds like a group that's getting busy. And I'm excited.
Yay.
I'm excited.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis, so much. My last question is, go ahead. Do you want to sound off?
Yes, I just want to talk about introducing the idea of introducing folks to different foods. I think one of the things we can do between our families and perhaps our neighbors is we can have like plan a meal where everybody brings something different or unusual. And I think trying new foods is the key. For myself, I know for my family, I've recently got a book of African recipes, and they had a lot of new foods. All of them I can't always find just yet, but I think that concept of exposing ourselves and our families to different foods, different healthy foods, is one way that we can also bring us back closer to not only strengthening the family units, but on this journey of being healthy together. So shared meals with everyone, bringing something different to the table, to me, is a key way of introducing new food items. And that was the fullness of my comment on that one.
Thank you. That is really important, that mealtime. It is very important, mealtime, and I think that's where we can strengthen our choices in food and also strengthen just the whole thing of being open to trying new foods. I think that's very important, and as I touched on last week, I think I was explaining it to Sherman. One way that I started to try different foods is I go to the international market and I see foods there. I would take a picture of it with its name, go home, look it up online, go on YouTube, see how to peel it, see how to cook it, and then look for recipes and then make it. I would do a small version of it because they have recipe reducers, and then I would try it. And then I'll put something into my cache of foods that I like. And you would be surprised at how great so many things are, especially when you're going to an international market, because that's mainly people of color. And so I'm like, all of this food we have that we eat that is flavorful. It is really flavorful. And also, when you do cook these things, be mindful of not cooking it in ways that can be unhealthy, like frying stuff or overcooking it. You want to try to cook it in the most healthiest way possible. Anyone else have any ideas on how to get our young people, especially and our elders, to try, and spouses and families to try new and different foods?
I can say that this is Rhonda, Harker Heights, Texas. I can say that the elders, the older ones are really difficult, but me and my granddaughter we have had some really great times just picking something out of the grocery store and bringing it home and figuring out what to do with it. So it could be a special bonding time with the grandchildren, a niece or nephews or things like that. But the older ones I have not figured out. Nope. Okay, and I passed the talking stick.
Okay, I just wanted to suggest something else that I've done over the years to get people to try different foods. For me, I'm a spice girl. I'm a vegetarian. Been for quite a long time, and but I'm a spice girl, and a lot of the time when I invite people over, and I do that just for the fun, or we all get together, we do potlucks, like the young lady was saying earlier, where everybody cooks something different and just get together and try different things. But with me, it's the spices. When people smell my food, they want to taste it. So sometimes I guess it's in what kind of spice you got. Make that stuff smell good. People are going to want to eat it. Once they taste it, they fall in love, and they're like, wow, what is that? Depending on your genetic makeup, your biological makeup also, being black people, we need things that are designed for a black people body. We are melanated people. There are some spices and foods and things that we put in our body that are better for us. I just wanted to make that point, because that's a very important point. Okay. Now, for me, I think I mentioned last time when we were talking, Mrs. Dash. Now, I don't want to sing Mrs. Dash praises. I don't even know who owned that company, and I try not to support a company that's taking advantage of people. But Mrs. Dash spices, and there are 4 different types that she blends together, or whoever owns the company, has no salt in it. And those spices are very good to start with. You have your turmeric in it. You have a little bit of sage in it. There's just all kinds of good things in it. Your garlic, oh wow. If you ever go to the store and get the original Mrs. Dash, it's just Ms. Dash, actually, MS Dash, and no salt, none of that stuff. And then you can go from there with other things. I do use some sea salt, various kinds, the kind that you grind in some of my dishes. It depends. So spices and the taste, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of apple cider vinegar even, or apple cider wine vinegar, or things like that, which are also good for the body, helping to clean the arteries, the capillaries, and stuff in the body to keep it cleaned out. With the hot peppers, the jalapeno peppers, or there are various kinds of peppers that I use. All these things are good for our bodies, being that we are African people. Spices are very important to our bodies, to keeping us clean, keeping blood pressure away, keeping diabetes away, those kinds of things. So, but I would suggest, my number one suggestion would be to invite friends, or just throw a shebang. I don't know if that gives away my age. I'm pretty old. Throw a kind of a party where you invite people in the community that are your friends and people who are interested in what you're about and what you're talking about. I'm a very active person in my community. I have been since I was a little girl, actually. So I have no problem with taking out my djembe, my doumbek drums and hand drums and shakers, and invite a bunch of children to come over whom most of I've taught how to do some African dance already, or play the drums or the flutes or whatever, and just have a nice party, and everybody can bring a dish, or you can just do all the cooking like I've done on many occasions. And from there, people grow. They want to know what this is. How did you make this taste like that? And it's all vegetables, 100%. And the next thing you know, they're eating them.
Thank you. That is such an awesome idea. And I would like to take that one step further by saying, if you do that, everyone, print out the recipes of what you're making so people can carry that back home to their house and add it to their library of food. And I'm a huge fan of spices. I have like half of India's spices in my kitchen, and those spices there are wonderful. If you're looking for food that is always flavorful and vegan, also they do meat, but you cannot go wrong with Indian spices. And if you're not sure where to buy it, you go to one of the stores, ask them if you can have a sample, because a little bit goes a long way. And that's what I've done. I've gone to an Indian store. I've expressed interest in making some food for myself, and you would not believe when you express interest in another culture, they're willing to help you. So I started off with getting a lot of my seasoning, as samples. They'll just give me a scoop of seasoning, and I would take it home and cook it, and then I would go back and buy it. I also split my seasonings with my friends. So, if it's like $6, I'm like, you give me 2, she give me 2, I pay 2, and we'll split that container up into little jars so we all have it. So we have that seasoning in our house to experiment with on our fruits. Some of our fruits we can, but on our vegetables mainly. So, Assad, are you still there?
I'm here.
Could you give us a closeout? Because it is now 7:55, and I am on the move, and I know everyone else is interested in knowing more about United Black America and where they can find out more information, especially Slack that we keep talking about.
Absolutely. All right, family. Well, first of all, thank you all for spending some time with us tonight. I thought this was one of our better calls, so we definitely appreciate you all for being here. If this is a topic that you want to do some work in, if this is something you've committed your life to, one of the queens earlier mentioned Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama made it her personal agenda to correct the eating habits of the nation's children. That was her life mission. If this is your life mission, this topic that we're talking about, if you can dedicate 10,000 hours of your time on an annual basis, if this is something you're really devoted to, then we want you in this organization, and we want you in this organization as part of our Black Healers Guild. United Black America is divided into 12 councils, and all of those councils are committed to doing the work of our people. But this specific topic falls underneath our Black Healers Guild, all right? So this is what they do day in, day out. They explore different healing modalities, and they put projects into action designed to correct the weapons of white supremacy, namely infection and intoxication. And by the way, intoxication does come to you via your food, via your water, via your air, and via other substances you shouldn't be putting into your body. So all of that falls underneath the Black Healers Guild. You can learn more about what we're doing at unitedblackamerica.org. If you all want to join our organization, just shoot us a message. Use the contact form there. I think that site might be down for redesign, so go to panafricanalliance.com. Same thing, family, but we would love to have you all doing the work that our people need us to do to make change in this area of life. So I love you all. Niali, thank you for being an excellent host this week. Thank everybody for all your participation. If you didn't get a chance to speak, then you've got our Facebook page we want you to drop comments on. Join us in Slack. Just send us an email asking us, what is this Slack you'll keep talking about, and we'll get you all in there. But other than that, family, same time, same place next weekend. We love you all. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Salama, Ninakupenda.
Ninakupenda. Love is always present. This was a great show. Thank you.